liberty. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Come on along and welcome aboard the Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary coming to you on this Wednesday, June 23rd. We've hit the halfway mark, and man, oh man, is it going to be an unbelievable, maybe the nicest day of the entire 2020 year. Todd Leary, it's going to be incredible out there. Joe Smith's on the program with us today. Can't wait to talk to Joe. Joe, man, he is the man that keeps everything together on the IU broadcast booth and has been around Indiana broadcasting for decades. Looking forward to talking to Joe. Always just a fun time. Lots to get to, man. Todd Leary, you missed out yesterday. Big news in NASCAR. An FBI investigation into the noose found in the garage of Bubba Wallace found that it is actually a door pull that had been hanging there since last October, that somebody just fashioned the end of it into a loop, basically, is all it was. And I'm like, gee whiz. I mean, I've done stuff like that. And then I've heard that people says, well, they should investigate before they talk about it, which I thought that first. But then you go on the other hand that, well, they weren't being transparent. If they start investigating and it leaks out that they haven't told them what it was about. So I think they did the best thing possible. But, man, it's kind of a funny end. And I'm telling you, I'm a little worried that we're going to see a lot more of this stuff because of some overreaction. But maybe that's better than the alternative.
You know what? It's hard to determine right now and decipher what to believe and who to believe and what conclusions to jump to. But you know, now what's going to happen? Now, every time he goes into a garage, like it's going to be somebody's job to go in there and inspect it to make sure there's nothing that even hangs from the ceiling. I mean, it's awful. Like and believe me, I don't want him to feel uncomfortable. I don't want anything negative out of it, but my gosh, like this is just, I was reading a story about it, and truly out of everything that surprised me the most out of it was there was 15 FBI agents investigating the story. 15 FBI agents. What's that costing the public to investigate an old door, a door pull hanging down from a garage door? Think about that. That's insanity.
Well, it's again,
who reported originally that it was a noose? That's where you go to right now. Like, I want to know who said it first.
A team member, apparently, their own team member, from their garage. But
okay, well, that dude needs to be bye-bye. We need to send him away and start over again and find a new guy who isn't an idiot.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, I guess it worked out. The great thing is they had an unbelievable before the Talladega race. They had an unbelievable when everyone thought that it was a noose that had been put there. A great showing of support. So there was some good that came out of it. And all the drivers kind of went out with him, and it was a great scene. So
you and I said the day that this was reported that it was on there, that whoever in today's climate would do something like that should just be banned from the world. And thankfully it's not a thing. Nobody officially is that dumb.
Yeah, no, it was just something. It was just somebody was bored and tied a knot in the end of a string 6 months ago. So there's that. Baseball, it's coming back. I don't care, but I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's not that I don't care. I'm sick of the play. I'm sick of the greed. I mean, I'm not going to lie, but it's back. So will I watch it? If there's nothing else on, you're damn right I will watch it because I'm tired of nothing being on. But 60-game schedule. By the players rejected everybody rejected each other's offers. The funny thing is, this is an offer. This 60-game offer is an offer the players turned down already, but by turning it down and then they got nowhere. So that invoked a clause that allowed the commissioner to just set it. They end up getting less teams in the playoffs. Players end up getting less because of this, because they didn't agree to this, which they're going to end up doing anyway. So their greed got them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tough feelings when it comes to this thing with the baseball players, and You asked the question that's I guess the biggest question right now is, will we watch it and do we really care? And I'm a basketball person. I love golf. I love basketball and all that. Will I watch the NBA? Probably. When the playoffs are on, I probably will. Will I watch the end of the regular season games? No. Do I care? No. Would I really be disappointed if they just said, hey, we're not going to play the rest of the NBA season and we're going to skip baseball this year? No, I wouldn't care at all. But guys like our guest Joe Smith will, because baseball is his favorite sport to watch. So I get that it's an important deal. Did you see some of the rules changes? Did you see the extra innings rule?
Are you talking about the one where they put a guy on second base?
Yeah.
That is such little league crap. That is such little league crap. That is the biggest travesty.
This is like an all-nighter softball tournament all of a sudden now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Bring your little cooler of beer, put your feet up on the stands, and just sit back, man, and have at it. It's exactly what it seems like, an all-nighter softball tournament at some park down on a river next to a trailer park. I mean,
what? I mean, you want to make it fun? Change them all to 4-inning games and start every inning with bases loaded. I mean, let's just, if we're just going to jack the rules up, let's just go crazy.
And everybody has to bat opposite-handed.
Everybody. Yeah, let's make it fun.
Let's make it ridiculous.
Everyone has to pitch. You want to find out who the real athletes are? Let's make everybody throw opposite-handed. So make them bat opposite-handed.
Well, the pitchers won't be batting because in the National League, because they're going to have the DH.
I did see that.
I think for the next 2 years, that may be next year too, is a possibility. I think, baseball purists are anti-DH. They want to see the game the way it is, the pitcher bat, and I get that, but the pitchers suck at the plate.
What was it originally? Like, what was the original rule? Did everyone bat?
Yeah.
The original rule.
Yeah, no, I'd say everyone batted it originally, just like you did in Little League. I mean, just like regular baseball now. But
I mean, would you be
at the professional level? I get it. I don't want to see it at the lower levels. At high school, nope, stay the same. College, I think, should stay the same because hell, their pitchers are good hitters in college usually anyway. Major leagues, I'm cool with it because it becomes a specialization thing, and pitchers are specializing in pitching, not hitting, and that's just not what they do. It's like a kicker in football. They're not out there to go catch a pass. Yeah, they're wearing a helmet and a jersey and all that crap, but they're there to kick the ball only. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the DH.
Well, hang on a minute. Hang on a second. As a shooter, shouldn't I be advocating for a rule where I don't have to play defense? Where I don't have to stay at one end of the court?
That'd be great, but I don't think it's going to fly in that sport. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But yeah, I mean, I it'd be nice, but I'm just thinking for the game, for the entertainment of the game. Baseball needs it. I mean,
I'm with you.
I don't want to see a pitcher up there batting. They suck enough as it is.
And the reason why we're all for, we're more for that than other changes would be people like offense. People want to see more runs scored. It's not that exciting to go to a baseball game. This is part of the reason why I don't love soccer. And it's also part of the reason why I don't love baseball is because you can go to a game and it finishes 1-0. And that's just not a lot of excitement for me. Yeah, I know there's a lot of skill involved in the defense and the pitching and all that. I get it. I'm just saying, as a fan, I don't enjoy a 1-0 game.
No, unless there's some spectacular defensive gems. Even that, you still want to see the scoring. It's a weird thing. You could watch the greatest defensive game ever, diving catches, and you like to see the runs
football
played.
game. You watch a football game that ends up with 3 field goals, 9-6, 3 field goals to 2 field goals because of great defense, and you're like, ugh, that was gross. Coaches love it, but
kind of how Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl his last year.
Yeah, I mean, it just is not exciting. I mean, we like to see the long bomb plays, and I don't know. It's just offense is more exciting, no matter what sport it is.
Yep. Indiana women's basketball has a new coach, Ashley Williams. She's a former GA deal here, so I don't have a lot on her, but I just know that that announcement was made yesterday. She replaces, Constantine Banks, whose husband went to Alabama. She followed him to Alabama. Now she's a coach at Alabama. So filling that replacement hole for the IU women's basketball team. So looks like a familiar face, and which is always comfortable, I guess. Someone that's comfortable with the program, and I don't remember when she was here, but she looks pretty young, so it couldn't have been that long ago. So she's probably familiar with most of the players, I would imagine.
Yeah, and being a graduate assistant on the staff, she obviously showed, the ambition to want to do a good job and relate with the players, because they don't generally promote you up within the same program if you haven't worked your butt off. And she had the toughest job there is, the graduate assistant job, where you don't hardly make any money and you work harder than everybody else. So she obviously proved herself.
Kind of like being a basketball manager, isn't it? It's like one step up. It's
one step up, because you get paid like $50 a month.
And one step over, one step
right.
up and one step over.
Yep.
And that's it. Yeah, it is straight up grunt work. But, hey, that's what you got to do, though, man, unless you're a superstar. You got to go through the paces. Look at, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, something like that. He tried to coach for a long time, I think, and just was never given the opportunities. But he may be too much of a thinker. He's a thinking dude, man. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a smart guy and a thinking man.
There are a bunch of glaring examples of guys who, just because they were, unbelievably outstanding players, doesn't mean that they can coach. And there's a lot of things that go into coaching other than, your knowledge of the game and how good you were. And it's very rare, I think, that you see guys that were great players, like Penny Hardaway is a great example. He was a great player. How will he transition into right now? I would say in college, you'd probably call him a good recruiter. You'd call him a great coach yet.
No, not at all.
We don't know yet. It's still he's so new to the whole thing. But heck, he basically went from coaching a high school team in Tennessee to, the head coach at Memphis.
He's basically the head coach at Memphis because his name is Penny Hardaway.
Sure.
Well, that's it. So, but you're right. You think back, even look at Bob Knight. Bob Knight was not a great player. He was a pretty good player, though. He's on a national championship team. But I guess as a sixth man, I don't know that you could be considered a great player. So, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game, Mike Krzyzewski, I don't recall him being a great. We can go down the line.
Sure,
you're right. It's coaching at that level is almost kind of like genius. I think it's these guys kind of got something different. Some of them have great pipelines to shoe companies, but
true. In today's world, it's even different than it was, in Coach Knight's days and back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's different now. You've got to be such a different communicator. You've got to be, you've got to change with the times things just have to be, everything is so much different now. That's why you see on so many staffs, you'll see even the Tom Izzos of the world, and they've always got, I would even consider Dane Fife and Dwayne Stevens, guys that are his assistants. Those guys are old for that job. You're bringing in guys that are 25 because they can relate to, younger kids.
Larry Bird, a great player coach. I think I really liked what he did as a coach. Didn't win the NBA championship, but it was pretty good. We got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Joe Smith is going to join us today on this Wednesday. Looking forward to that. I haven't talked to JoJo for a little bit. Indiana's got a new women's assistant coach. We talked about that, and we got plenty more. Stay tuned. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with more right after this.
So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle Leary with you here on this Wednesday, June 23rd, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Chamber of Commerce Day. Holy goodness, joined now by Joe Smith, one of the greatest voices of Indiana broadcasting. Joe, how are you doing, man?
Hey, boys, how we doing? You're down at Eagle Point today, huh?
That's right, man. The sun is shining, the Eagles are flying, and we're here.
My buddy Kit Klingelhofer is still running things down there.
He certainly is. You got to have a guy like Kit to keep people in line.
Yeah, that's why I've often referred to him as Ranger Rick, especially when he used to patrol with those gloves. He had his own golf cart, and, he maintained law and order long before COVID greeted us last March.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's doing a heck of a job. Speaking of COVID, I saw that yesterday Indiana did like 200 tests. All the athletes that are coming back and all that, staff members, coaches, all negative. We see so much of other teams, but that's a great sign for Indiana.
Oh, no question. That was great news to hear. We got the release, mid-afternoon from Jeff Kaag, relevant to how the football and men's and women's basketball teams were doing. And to have a donut there, that's one time you like to have a big fat zero, a nada, a zilch, right in that category there. And it just tells you a little about, the job that our chief medical officer, Andy Hipskin, has done, along with Larry Rink and Tom Ersmolis. There's three right there that are as good as any in the country. And one of the reasons why the kids know what to do, they know what, is expected of them once they have been tested, and they're doing their job so far. And that was just great news, and especially in lieu, as you say, Jim, of many schools across the country that have come out with their numbers relevant to testing positive for the virus.
Yeah, so that's a great positive step for them. It won't prevent; they won't lose players. That way, everybody can continue to work out because of the guys that are coming up positive at other schools. They're probably out of workouts for a couple of weeks during that time.
Wouldn't you just think it's a matter of time, though? I mean, obviously, based on the numbers, I mean, someone's going to test positive eventually, and as long as the protocols are in place to take care of it once it happens, I mean, we know it's going to happen. I assume.
Yep.
So that's the great key so far, because the protocol guidelines, Todd, that have been in place have been, followed to a T, relevant to, social distancing and hygiene and, wearing face mask when you can, small groups of 10. So, so far so good in that regard. And let's hope that, we're going to see a test or two that's going to be come out, the wrong way, but that's just part of what we're dealing with when you're dealing with these many numbers, of student athletes.
What's been going on with Joe Smith since we talked last? I know the summer's come around and getting out and about. Not a lot to be able to do because of COVID, but have you managed to have any fun at all this summer?
Well, I got to ask Todd if he's been out testing that new foul course yet, huh?
Todd,
what's that?
He's talking about the new IU course. He's talking about you.
Oh yeah. I played with our buddy Fish and the Sewers. I got teamed up against the Sewers, which was I came out on the wrong end of that deal, but yeah, it was a lot of fun hanging out with Fish and seeing those guys. We did tell numerous Joe Smith stories while we were out there that day. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I bet. I know my man. Fish and Buck, and probably Eric was out there, the three avowed musketeers of the Lynx. They were out a couple of weeks ago, when they had that media gathering. So, that is a great ad. But no, just mentioning golf, we got back and running our golf draft, of our 16-member team 2 weeks ago, and went from the penthouse to the outhouse in 1 week. So I got to turn things around at the Travelers starting tomorrow at Hartford. So I don't know, put you guys on it. I was dead last, so I go first. So is it going to be Rory or Bryson DeChambeau or Justin Thomas? Who do you guys like among those three?
Bryson DeChambeau, man, you can't go wrong. The technology is going to pay off eventually. The brain work is going to pay off. Guy's driving at 360 yards.
What?
Yeah, he's flying the ball 340 yards in the air.
It's crazy. I've noticed that. So, yeah, you figure a top five, but I need a win. So, okay, I'll go with Bryson DeChambeau tonight. All right.
Good. I like it. Joe, things for you have got to seem not normal, but closer to normal than the average person, because we had horse racing last weekend and now we're going to have baseball. And I know those are two of Joe Smith's favorite things.
Well, yeah, we had not a deluded fool. Tis the Law's the real deal, and it's going to be interesting when he meets up with, I think, the best horse in training right now is Honor AP, who will obviously be running in the Derby. Of course, we have a couple of huge preps coming up this summer, the Haskell and also the Travers, and before the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday of September. So, but tis the law, high quality 3-year-old, no question about it. Nice story evolving there with the trainer, and the fact that that's only the first time, I believe, in 138 years that a New York bred won the Belmont. And it was just great to see the story of the trainer. It slips my mind right now his name, but he lost the Triple Crown to Empire Maker when he had Funny Side back about 17 years ago. So it was nice to see him bounce back into the win column and take care of the Belmont last Saturday. Yeah. And too, I'm trying to think, can the Reds go 60-0 when we start back up? That means they'll win the National League. So I don't know. What are we going to do? Play 60 games starting, July 24th, and play division within division? Is that how the setup works?
I haven't seen all the complete rules, but we were talking about it earlier. Some of the goofy rules, like the extra innings when you put a guy on second base to start the 10th inning or whatever. It's just I can't believe they're using such little league type of deals in this.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of, with all this labor going on and chit chat and problems that they've had between the two sides. At least we're going to salvage a little baseball to make it seem like summer. But I'll be interested to see. Again, I guess we're going to start out with no fans in the stands or a limited number. I don't know the real specifics yet. I guess when we get closer to the start date on the 24th of July, we'll have a better handle on it. But, the Reds could go win them all, 60. Hey.
Hey, the Reds are supposed to be good this year.
I forgot I'm dealing with two Reds fans here.
I've waited I've waited with high optimism to see how Moustakas and also the kid they picked up from Detroit in free agency, a third baseman. What's his name? I can't think of it right now.
We got no help for you there.
Anyway, I'm looking for big numbers when the ball starts to fly out of Great American Ballpark. So, I'm kind of happy to see that. And, back to golf, I got a watchful eye today on Joe Weiler. Despite the fact that he goes to Purdue, he's had an outstanding career at Purdue. I watched a young man grow up since he's been a kid playing golf here in Bloomington and won the state am last year. And he got himself moved up 10 spots on the leaderboard at the Country Club of Indianapolis yesterday. So he's, T3 going into the final round here. He's going to tee off at about 11:15. So I wish him well as he looks for back-to-back state ams.
That sounds awesome. Have you thought about looking forward to the football season and what it might be like up in the press box for all of us, but for you, for all those guys? I mean, for you guys it'd be different, but
yeah, I have, and I really don't have an answer for you. I mean, it's just tough. How are you going to social distance? I mean, I spot for fish, have for 45 years. We're, how it is at times, especially on the road, you're crammed into a spot. I really don't know. I've talked to my high school buddy, or Dave Novak, who helps me on the high school games, and we've kind of discussed it, as we try to look at the high school schedule. We have we've not posted it yet because I got to wait and see if we're going to start on time with these August games. But we have Bloomington North at Greenwood in our first game on the 21st of August. So that's kind of what I'm keying in on right now. And of course, the high schools will get a chance, guys, as you know, entering the first phase on July the 6th. That's when they can, not with helmets or pads or anything, but began their process of, squeezing the spring into early fall before we get ready to go in pads and head knocking in early August. So that's my, what I'm kind of gearing toward right now as far as the local beat. Looking at IU, we'll just, I'm still taking a wait and see attitude with reference to that, especially for us opening on the road, on that Friday night, that weekend. I know the plan's in place, the dates are in place to begin, true fall practice. So at least the plan's out there, but I think it's just day to day because it can change, as you know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And Indiana football, the preseason, some things that have come out. ESPN had them in the top 25. I saw something else. We don't seeing Indiana ranked in the preseason polls is very, very strange ground for us. Can you remember the last time? I can't. I'll have to research this, but I cannot recall the last time Indiana was ranked in the preseason.
Well, it'd have to be, when Bill Mallory was coaching. I want to say maybe it was the 1992 preseason coming off the Copper Bowl win that gave Indiana 9 wins that year, I believe, when we beat Baylor. I want to say the early 90s, maybe 92. was the last time we were preseason ranked. Had we won the Gator Bowl, that would have answered that question because Tom Allen's team would have been, preseason, ranked. Are we ranked? I got to ask you that question. Are we ranked in the coaches or AP preseason poll?
Right now, yeah. ESPN had Indiana in at like number 23 or 24, and then I saw something else that came out. So that's what I'm really talking about. The expectations going into next season are really ramping up, especially when the national media respects them as a team, and that's what's happening right now.
Well, especially defensively, that's where Kane Wommack and the crew, some new faces added on the coaching staff, but Nick Sherrod has taken over the offense. That shouldn't change a lot from what we saw last year. We got to obviously keep, as you well know, Jim, Michael Penix healthy. And from all indications, he's having a pretty good, rehab start coming off those injuries. He's built up his physical strength and body build from the waist up, so that's good news there. So, but knock on wood, we got to keep him healthy. But the recruiting has been good. Good to see us sign that kid from Lawrence North. I mean, this kid, from what I gather and hearing from my high school contacts up in the Indianapolis area, this kid's the real deal. And, he's going into a senior year at Lawrence North. And, so things are looking good for the future. But, I'm optimistic. Last year I picked us to win 8, and guys laughed at me, and I ended up having a nice sit-down dinner at Yakko's before. Cool drinks to go along with that. And, so 8, 9 wins, not out of the realm of possibility. My question is this, and I'm hearing different stories. Will we play a non-conference schedule? I mean, I'm hearing that if we do get going, it's strictly going to be just conference games.
I would not be surprised by that. I haven't heard either way yet, but that would not surprise me. Although that would really, you talk about affecting a season, though, all those teams that's the sole reason they play these games is to go get a paycheck.
Why would that matter? Why would non-conference games matter?
Well, just added travel for games that are of no consequence really to your season, other than those are basically money-making games for places.
Well, but you're considering it, okay, from IU standpoint, playing against Ball State or Western Kentucky or somebody like that. But when you get, Ohio State playing Oregon or Texas or somebody like that, I mean, those games have a big factor on who wins the national championship.
They do, but I think this year, because of the COVID and all of that the added travel, the unnecessary travel, it's going to be tough. I mean, there's nothing that you're saying it's not valid. There's nothing the other way that's not valid. It's a tricky situation.
I guess I'm just asking, would they be doing it just to limit the number of games?
I think the travel and all of that is all.
What's the difference whether you get on a plane and fly to Wisconsin or you get on a plane and fly to Texas? Like, once you're in the air, what's the difference?
It's just minimizing the amount of times that you do that. They're just
I guess that's what I'm saying. If you're just cutting the number of games back, I get that.
That's it. That's easiest to do.
And protocols of travel have not been dictated yet. And so, again, that's a wait-and-see type of situation. I mean, we're talking here winding up June, so we've got the entire month of July to, answer some of those questions. But it'll be interesting. I'm for playing them all. Let's play 13 and win 13. I mean, hey. So I think as Todd mentioned, we got Ball State coming in here. That's a big payday for them, and it's and again, how are we going to treat the how's the fan situation going to evolve here? So I mean, are we going to have limitations on how many come in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to definitely be a different year, no doubt about that. Then also news, Joe Smith, a new women's assistant basketball coach named Ashley Williams, a name familiar to some Hoosier fans.
Yeah, she was with us. She was a grad assistant. Let's see, the year we won that Terry Morin really got the program started. We won the WNIT that year. I think that was the first year that she actually was with us. And then went down to Furman, and now she's coming back to take over for Janice Constantine, who was, I think, down in Alabama now. But, yeah, it was nice to see that she's coming back. And it just shows you the stability and the job that Terry Morin has done because, she hasn't had many hires. I think Glenn Box was her last hire, and Glenn's just done you talk about a heck of a recruiter along with Red Zerba. Those two guys have just been so phenomenal under Terry, and Red's been with Terry forever. And it's great to see, Ashley have a chance to come back, fill in that slot. So, a great move on the part of, things working out for her to be able to come back as an assistant coach.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Great to see her complete that staff as they continue to move forward. Because, man, that program is one that's on the rise as much as any program at Indiana right now.
No question about it. And, they were, cheated just like the men were, because they never had a chance to compete for, or to see how far they could go in the NCAA tournament. Boy, I still, dial the clock back to March 11th, our last broadcast when we beat Nebraska, and it seems like it was 5 years ago. Boy, it just, things have changed so much. I have a phrase now, what was, isn't. And that's kind of how I view things as we move forward, be it high school or amateur or college or even pros. And just see how the Pacers are going to do when they get ramped back up here down in Orlando. So wish them the best. They start out with Philadelphia and Miami in the first couple of games. So, we'll see how they do. We can't leave them out of the equation either because we still have a full slate of, a handful of NBA games to play. Wow.
Absolutely. JoJo, man, it's always great catching up with you, brother, and you make the day better. Looking forward to getting together and seeing how things do work out for us all this fall, but can't wait that long. Looking forward to seeing you sometime soon.
All right, Todd, don't believe all those stories you hear out on the golf links. That's just a lot. Those are
Oh, I believe them. I witnessed a lot of them firsthand. I believe it.
Good week.
There's
Hey,
Hall
buddy.
of Famer JoJo Smith. Thanks, brother. We appreciate you. Joe Smith joining us on the broadcast, man. Love. He's just a barrel of laughs. Just fun, knowledgeable. Just nothing but this. It's all positives.
I'll tell you what. You ever want to just get an enormous amount of stories? Take Joe Smith out for a beer sometime, and just listen to. I mean, this guy's been around IU sports for 40 plus years, and he's been real close to practices, and he's seen a lot of stuff. He's fun to talk to.
And I'm just IU, Southern Indiana high school sports.
Yeah, high school sports. It's insane. Like it'll frustrate you because he'll start talking about stuff, and you won't believe the detail that he remembers. It's crazy.
Dude's a walking computer, man.
He is.
It's a walking
Encyclopedia,
computer. Yeah. It's awesome. Hey, we got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat with Corey O'Leary from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, and we're back with it right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Hall, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle Leary with you here on this Wednesday. It's hump day. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We were talking about the Reds earlier. You talked about me and Joe being a Reds fan. Alan chimed in. That makes three of us. Big Al's a Reds fan as well. Tim hit this text line.
Can you see my W for Go Cubs Go?
Is that who that's for?
Yep.
Baseball, when baseball coming back, we talked about some of the guy on putting a runner on second and blah, blah, blah. No licking, no spitting.
No spitting. I mean, what's the penalty going to be? Because that's a habit. That's a habit as much as anything.
I do it constantly.
So they're going to say no sunflower seeds or no tobacco or no anything else?
I think it's more about, especially for pitchers, which they're not allowed to go through their mouth anyway, other than to get their fingers. But I heard they have to carry a wet rag out with them and wet their fingers with a wet rag if they want to wet their fingers. So
what's the penalty? I read the same thing that you did, and I'm pretty sure you're going to say you don't know because I don't think I read 3 articles and it didn't say. It just said no spitting. What's the penalty going to be? Because I can tell you right now, it's a habit. Every time I walk out my front door, I spit to the right. Like, it's terrible, disgusting, stupid habit. For some reason, it just is.
I don't think those are the ones that they're going to – because they're not going to monitor the guy out in center field and the guy at third base and all that stuff. I think it's mainly the pitcher. They don't want – they don't want anybody spitting, but they don't want to see the pitcher spitting on his hands or any of that stuff. But, it's just going to be – it's going to be goofy, man. Baseball has just been an absolute jackasses to me. They I mean, everything, like, not only do they come back kicking and screaming, but they got the goofiest rules to go along with their comeback. I mean, gee whiz.
You know how you feel about, okay, so you're from Floyd Central. So you know how you feel about like New Albany, or you know how everyone feels about their rival. So IU people feel about Kentucky or Purdue. That's how I feel about baseball in general. Like, I just don't like
hate it.
I do. I just don't like it. It just is, everything they do is wrong. Like, it just seems like no matter which direction they take, it's wrong. And they just make themselves unlikable. I mean, if there's ever a definition, like you hear people saying, you don't even know how to explain it, but just you say like somebody's got a really punchable face. everybody in baseball has a punchable face.
Baseball is a punchable face.
Baseball has a punchable face. It sure does.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, obviously huge fans. I mean, it's major sport, and there's a lot of people that are probably happy to see it back. I used to be a big fan growing up. As a kid, I knew every player on every team, but then the whole strike happened years ago, and that tainted that. And then, they've just not ever endeared themselves back to being what's America's pastime or whatever. That's basically was their slogan. Yeah. And now it's like America's embarrassing step cousin. For NFL, the NFL is America's pastime now. But there was one of the funniest lines in the movie Concussion. I forget the guy who was playing. It was the guy who was playing the older guy who was befriending Will Smith's character and being nice to him, kind of his boss. He was his boss. But he was talking about trying to explain the NFL to Will Smith's character and how big they are in this country. He said, Sundays used to belong to the church. Now it's theirs. That's how big Sundays belong to the NFL. I mean that was and no statement has ever been truer, but it was just so funny the way he said, now it's theirs. I mean, and he's not lying. They own a day of the week. That's how big they are. And it is true. And but yeah, it's funny stuff. They have almost renamed a day of the week. I mean, Sundays are theirs, but then they've also got Monday Night Football. Everybody knows what Monday Night Football is, and everybody watches it for the most part. Sunday Night Football now, Monday Night Football. Yeah, Thursday, you got prime time now. They used to be prime time game, and now when is the prime time? You got a prime time noon game, you got a prime time 4 game, and a prime time Sunday night game. Monday Night Football. Then you got Thursday half the season. And the thing about the NFL versus baseball is all these games, NFL games, they're events. They're all events. They're happening. There's 70,000 people there, not 35,000, and there's not going to be another game tomorrow. This is a one time. You're playing this team one time. Well, not all generally, but also. But that's what I love about. That's why I like the. There's 16 games in football. Like every game is monumentally important. Means something. Yeah. Versus, NBA basketball, you got 82 games. I mean, in game 47, is it that important? No. I mean, baseball, you got 162 games. In game 105, is it that important? No. Nope. Game 1 of 16, game 5 of 16, game 9 of 16, they're all important. It's true. I mean, that's what, and that's part of what has propelled football to becoming America's number one sport. Yeah, the sense of urgency and the must win, feeling that you have all the time. Now, if you play great and you put yourselves in a position to where you get, you can sit a game out at the end of the season, you can rest everybody because you've already locked up a certain position. That's just a reward. But for the most part, every game is monumental and means something. And there's just a lot to be said for watching that. Absolutely. It's just, and they're looking to come back in a normal fashion. I can't, it's we're late June. So July, we've got another month. We have another month probably. I don't know that before we know how the season is college football season is going to be like, but I don't know that they'll make any determinations before then, but it's got to be coming soon because you hit August, baby, and it's football season. Here's just what I don't understand. Okay, so you talk. Is IU lucky or better or great because it had 0 out of 187 tests, or is Clemson in a better position or Texas in a better position because they've got a bunch of guys that already have it and are going to get through it? I mean, I go back to this from the very beginning, and this is just I'm saying like this is lack of knowledge and not understanding what it means, because go back to Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Those were the first 2 guys in the NBA that we heard about that had it or whatever. I kind of followed their progress throughout there, and they stayed in the hotel room for 2 weeks. Neither one of them had very bad symptoms. Everything was 2 weeks later, they checked out of the hotel and they were gone. And they, they didn't feel great, but I understand there are certain people that are at risk, and you hear everybody say, we're doing it for somebody else, but is IU in better shape because they've had 0 of 187 tests? Should they just give it? Should they just give it to everybody and get it over with?
You can't, because then someone's going to have a heart condition or a respiratory
I don't mean that
condition.
for real, but I mean,
I know you don't. But I'm also saying the same thing. Are you better off to have everybody go through it?
If they had a vaccine, that's in essence what you're doing. When you get the vaccine, you're getting.
Yeah, you're basically giving it.
Yeah,
for what I understand of it, I shouldn't say that. I don't.
But no,
that's
that's not something that you'd want to do. You don't want to give it to. This is not something you want if you don't have to have it. Just because it's new, just because you never know how it's going to react to a particular person. Unfortunately, younger people been doing great, but you never know. That one comes along, like you said, may have this certain thing, and if that triggers. It's just weird. And we're looking at probably next year between people I've spoken to, it's Dr. Fossey next end of the year, like early 2021, a vaccine. So
I'll be honest with you. I just don't know what to believe. You can hear a different report depending on what channel I switch it to on TV, and it just absolutely infuriates me.
The best to believe is when it happens.
Yeah,
if something happens, you can believe it.
It is. I agree.
That's it's going to be our norm. I mean, we've all got kids that are playing. I've got a daughter that's playing sports. You've got a son that's playing sports. They're just getting back.
So I've got a son who played in a basketball tournament last weekend. You were allowed to have one parent show up. One person from your family could show up.
What do they do? Any precautions for the players? How do they?
Nope.
No testing. Nothing.
Nope.
See, I don't. What's
playing
the
in
point
another tournament this weekend? He's playing in another tournament next weekend. Like they're playing. I'll say they're playing as normal, except for they're only allowing a certain number of fans in.
Which is that's fine, but it's the fact that they're doing nothing from the player. Those players could be bringing that in every time.
With 100%. That's why I'm saying it's just like,
yeah. What are you going to do? You can't stop living.
I understand. I agree with it. I'm on that side of it. You know what? If you are at risk or know that you're at risk,
yes,
I think you should probably quarantine yourself for the rest of the year. To be honest with you,
take extra precautions.
You really have to. But if you're not, I mean, we're not shedding. I just don't understand how. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I haven't already had it, and I'm also don't want to catch it if I haven't. But I wouldn't mind getting it over with and not having to worry about it.
Yeah. You certainly don't want to catch this in November, or December, or January when it's getting nasty out. But I don't ever want to have it. Ever. Hope we can get by it. So get by there. Be nice if we can just not talk about it anymore. That would be the greatest thing is when we can not talk about it anymore. But that's not going to be the case. For months. I mean, we're not even to halfway point of this year, and we know that it's going to be a story throughout the season. What kind of story is it going to make on sports? I'm interested to see what teams get affected by this, and then by that, individuals on those teams, and then by that, how does that affect a conference? I mean, it could affect one single thing. Here's
what I don't.
What if you lose a quarterback, man? This could be big.
So let's take once the season starts. So let's take baseball as an example. You see that they're allowing an extra. They're allowing 30-man rosters, but then they're also allowing another 30-man roster to kind of travel with you and be ready to substitute guys in if guys get sick.
So they're on the B bus.
So what I don't understand with that, because it didn't explain it very well, is so let's say you've got Group A of 30 players and somebody tests positive. Does that mean Group A all quarantines and now Group B of 30 players comes in and plays? Or does it mean if a guy tests positive, they can get rid of him and then bring in one guy?
I think they just ship about one at a time.
I don't know. It seemed odd the way. I mean, why is it 30 players? Do you really need a full second team?
Because they want to get paid. I'm sure that this is just about getting paid, is what I would imagine. Because that's been the whole fight with baseball. Period, is just those guys getting paid what they want to get paid.
Yeah, I don't know. So take baseball out of it. Let's say football, for example. Let's say September 5th is the IU Wisconsin game on paper right now. So yes. let's say September 3rd, someone on IU tests positive. Do they play the game or do they not play the game?
That's a great question. I don't know the protocols are in place. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine in any way, shape, or form anyone that is known to be positive would not be put in quarantine. So anybody that is known to be positive, they're out until they are asymptomatic.
For sure, that person's out. But then, does the whole team? Do you not break up the whole team if they've been around these people?
Yeah, you just test them. All you do is test them. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. We got to get to a break. We got a little coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Already had JoJo Smith on with us. That was always fun. Looking forward to him as always. Hall of Fame broadcaster. We got a little more coming up for you here on Indiana Sports Beat. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more right after this.
A singer in a smoky room.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Wednesday. Hit the midway point of the week. Now it's all downhill from here, man. Well, this weather, this is some of the best weather I can remember in my lifetime from the standpoint of we have not had humidity this entire spring, summer.
Yesterday and today have been unbelievable. I mean, it's felt like a spring. I don't want to say fall because I can't stand fall, but it's felt like a beginning of spring humidity days.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Going to play some golf with the Tommy Zeller today. Looking forward to that. Fuzzy Zeller's brother. Maybe some of that magic will rub off.
Oof.
I need it. I can use it.
You know what? I brought you a new driver today. I brought you a driver for you to use.
Oh, man. You don't know how bad I can need it. Does it hit them straight? Is there a
that I can't promise.
Is there a button you push straight, long? Bam. Yes, I'll take that every time. But you can play the IU course next Wednesday. I'm playing it, and I feel much better about it. I've been working, trying to get this thing straightened out, but I didn't want to play until I felt more confident. So next Wednesday, I will be confident enough.
Sweet.
Confident enough. What else is going on? We've got, you talked about your son playing in a tournament. Where did this tournament? I know there's been action going on up in Indianapolis too, but where was this particular tournament?
Last weekend they played up in Lafayette, but this weekend they're playing. So the Indiana Elite program, which is the Adidas program, and Mike Fox and those guys out of Hamilton Southeastern, they run the Indiana Elite, and they host a bunch of tournaments all summer long. Like they have been so instrumental in AAU basketball for the youth all across the state, not just because they have so many teams, but because they put on so many tournaments. So this will be like 6 different venues. So they've got it. I'm
surprised they have had no trouble getting teams, but I was watching the news this morning too, out of Indianapolis there's like 100 teams in this thing. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Holy crap.
No, there's probably way more than 100 because their age groups go from first grade or maybe even kindergarten all the way through high school. So
how are they getting all these people together? I know they're limiting the parents. I'm amazed that the logistics of getting that many teams, that many different levels of people.
Okay, so I'll be honest with you about this, and we kind of live in a bubble. And I know we're on the radio in Southern Indiana, but we're kind of broadcast all over the state. But we're in a bubble here in Bloomington and Southern Indiana. I drive to Indianapolis to see my kids a couple times a week, and I can tell you, if you go to the mall, traffic on the interstate, restaurants, everywhere up there, it's business as usual. I mean, there's some differences, like we went out to eat yesterday and they take your temperature when you go in there, but otherwise it's the same. I mean, there's a few less tables and maybe I say a few because I'm not the manager. Maybe there's 3/4 of the tables that there usually are, but they're mostly full. People are out there and everywhere. Like people are not, we're in Bloomington and people are different. It's being treated differently here. But I'll tell you this: I've been to the Social Cantina and the Tap to eat in the last week, both full. I had to wait both times.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
and
you're right. I am in a
bubble.
bubble. You're right,
Chris.
What's up, Chris? You're right. I am in. I've been staying on the compound pretty much. I mean, it's.
That's what I mean. Like we're kind of in a bubble here. Like we don't need to. I mean, we go to the grocery store.
But then we also watch the news, and all these western states are having gigantic spikes because all those states opened up early, opened up first. People were doing. I'm like going, see, there you go. I don't want anything to do with that.
Hey, and I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not taking a side or making a statement here. But with all the I shouldn't say riots. With all the marching that we had and all the different things that were going on, there was no social distancing going on there. They had masks, but there was no social distancing, and half the people didn't even have masks. So those spikes are going to be everywhere. There's going to be a ton of them in the big cities because there was just so many people near each other. I mean,
they were mostly wearing masks, and hopefully that went a long way. But you can't get that many people together. And
at the restaurants in Bloomington, so they don't have menus. You got to look the menu up on your own phone, and they've got a little thing you can scan, and it'll pull the menu up on your phone. They don't take cash. They wouldn't pay. You can't pay your bill there. You pay your bill on your phone. So they've got some different measures in place, but no one had a problem with it.
Huh. Wow. I mean, you always know life is going to be different in the future. You know, there's going to be changes, but when they all happen at once, it's pretty incredible because
when they're forced on you too, it's a little different. Like
we're seeing some life changes that I think are going to be permanent for society for going forward. And we're experiencing that in our lifetime, but it's most of the time, things like that are gradual and they happen over time. All these things are just going bam, and they're happening right now, and all at the same time. It's just weird.
Well, here's the thing. So like, let's say, for example, like someone our parents' age would go out to dinner, and the server would say, "Hey, look your menu up on your phone," and they're going to be like, "What? What are you talking? Like that doesn't make any sense." But if I said that to my kids had no problem with it. I mean, got in there, they're probably already got it up on their
They're ordered before they sat down. What are you talking about?
For sure. But I mean, it's first of all, they just order chicken fingers no matter where we go anyway. But I think not everyone, there's an awful lot of people who are kind of self-proclaimed germaphobes anyway. And to not have to touch a menu that thousands of other people have touched does not hurt my feelings in the slightest. I don't mind looking the menu. Now, I have to make sure I've got my readers with me because I can't read most of the menus, but I don't mind a lot of the changes that have taken place so far, to be honest with you.
I don't either, because it's kind of kept me out from going out as much. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm like happy. I'm like, oh man, this has been good for me.
Some of the differences for single people like us would be sitting at the bar, for example, versus sitting at a table. Most of the places have opened the actual bar seating back up.
Yeah.
But that was going to be a big change and a big difference.
And one that I did not like.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that one go. But the funny thing is, so what happens when we return to normalcy a year from now when we have a vaccine? Once we have a vaccine, are people going to give a crap? I can't imagine. I mean, when you see people now that are the minute they think they can stop doing this stuff, which they can't. That's why we're seeing all these gigantic spikes. But when we actually have a vaccine, I think people are going to throw those masks in the trash, man.
Probably. And a lot of people will. But there'll be two things with that. One, a year ago, if you'd have gone into a restaurant and you saw somebody with a mask on, you would think they were just extremely sick or something was wrong with them or whatever. I don't think for maybe forever, but for a long, long time, I don't think we'll even think twice about it when you see someone with a mask on. If 10 people out of 100 in a restaurant have a mask on, you're not going to think anything different. I actually notice when people don't have a mask on now as much as I do when they do.
I do right now. If I'm out in public, I certainly
But
do.
here's one of the things you talk about like a year from now. So if you go to a restaurant right now, you know how on every table they have like salt and pepper and ketchup and, sweet and low packets and things like that.
Nothing there.
They don't have those on anymore. So what's that tell me? That those are disgusting, and I never should have been touching those in the first place. And so a year from now, will I be okay if those are all sitting on the table, and will I touch them? Probably not. I mean, if that's one of the things that's a big difference in passing the virus along right now, well, I sure as heck don't want to touch it a year from now then, whether there's a vaccine or not.
Certainly putting some new habits in store for us, man. And a lot of good habits. So hopefully,
this is a sports show, right? This is a sports talk show. Yeah, I'm talking about ketchup bottles and salt, sweet and low packets.
Hey, man, right now we'll take whatever we get. But if you talk about ketchup, somebody mentioned ketchup, all I can think about is Whataburger spicy ketchup. That's all I want to hear about. Man, that's going to wrap it up for us today.
In-N-Out Burger's better.
Oh, no. God bless America. That is such a travesty to even hear you say that.
Burger King is better than Whataburger.
Oh, my God. People. Let him know. I wish I had some Whataburger.
At 2 in the morning, White Castle is better than Whataburger.
No way, baby.
Now I might be talking nonsense, but Burger King is better than Whataburger. In-N-Out Burger is better than Whataburger.
No way. We got more coming up tomorrow. Can't wait to join you again. We appreciate you stepping in with us today. Thanks a lot to Joe Smith for joining us as well, and the Hall of Famer. We'll be back tomorrow to do it again. For Jimmy and Todd, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.